Hello there, Only One Kenobi here, only one! It's now 10 years since I started collecting carded TVC. Around about this time is when I got a figure, or a couple of figures, which I'm going to go through there in a minute and show you which ones they were. You've all got your own story, I'm sure, about how you got into not only Star Wars collecting, mostly that would have been people who collected in the 80s, or the 90s, or the 2000s, of course, for the prequels, if you're one of those people, but my adult collecting really kick-started in 2015, and that's because we were waiting for The Force Awakens. I can't believe that will be 10 years this Christmas, but that whole year, the build-up for that, a lot of people got into it, and I was buying figures loose to open, and then it was when I started picking up a few TVC things, and I saw them in hand, and I thought, wow, do you know what, I might keep that. And you say to yourself, oh, I'll only keep a couple. And then you think, oh, I'll get one of each type of card. And then you think, all right, okay, oh, and then you find something else, and then you build it, and you think, well, my story was I ended up getting Fett, and then I got Vader, and then I thought, well, oh, and then it just snowballs, to cut a long story short. But before we go through to the other room, I want to show you this. I had this painted in the background of my videos for a while now, quite embarrassingly. I've had this Starfighter on a pipe. One of these orange pipes here. They look terrible, that colour, but I've been meaning to paint it the colour of the walls, which is magnolia, which I have now. I'm not going to have it up here on this glass table, but I will put it back where it was, which is between the Falcon and the Ghost. And it should hopefully blend in, because it matches now the colour of the wall. So I just thought I'd show you that nifty way of displaying a small vehicle like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through to my carded room. I'm going to show you the first figures I acquired back in August 2015, 10 years ago. It's not 10 years since I started my channel, that's 2017 I started this channel, but I definitely started in earnest collecting carded figures back then. Let's go through. So here we are. This is another room that's just a complete mess, so I daren't film the floor because you'll see stacks of figures. But yeah, I didn't live here when I started collecting carded. I lived in another place. But it all started, where is he now? There he is. So I was buying figures to open back then, but I think I got this one first, and I got it for like, well, TVC was dead cheap back then, £14. Then around about the time I was going to a wedding in August 2015, and I remember winning this for £9. Look at it. And I won it to open, but when these both arrived at the same time, I looked at them and I thought, I can't open them, they look kind of nice. And so then I thought to myself, right, I've got a Phantom Menace Obi-Wan, and I had that one. I think also around that time, ironically, I think I won, yeah, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, where is he? Yeah, this guy, except it wasn't that one. I sold, mine was punched, and I sold it to you, Andy Moore. Are you watching, pal? I did. I sold that to you, Andy, but I won. So that's the weird thing. This is way before I'd even thought of the name Only One Kenobi. I just happened to, well, I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. A lot of people do love that character, but I happened to just to win 3 Obi-Wans. And so the plan then was, right, I'm going to get a set of, I've got a set of Obi-Wans. I've got Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. Then I started looking into things a bit more, and I discovered the the VOTC. And I think, where's that Ben Kenobi? There he is, he's down here. So I thought, right, I've got that. And then I got an Empire Strikes Back. I think I remember I won this guy. Ooh. So I thought, I've got an Empire Strikes Back badge. Now I need the Return of the Jedi. That's right, I won Fett. I won a Return of the Jedi Fett. Where is he? There. Which one was it? That one. No, this one. The Canadian. I won that one. So I thought, well, I've got everything. I've got all the prequels and all the original trilogy, and then I'll stop. But it didn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. It went on and on and on, and a lot of people think that I have. Well, I don't know. Have I got? I've got, a lot of people out there have very large collections, and you like to collect variants. But I like to think that I have a fair few variants here. A lot of people say that I have one of the biggest collections. Do I have? I don't know. I've not said that. I'm not declaring I have, but I do have a lot of variants, ladies and gentlemen. And I go variant hunting every now and again. Not all the time, but I have lots of variants, multiple variants of TVC 1.0. 2.0, I've kind of, I'm not too fussed about keeping that carded. This is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. This is brilliant. TVC 1.0, between 2010 and 2012, love it. Kind of easing off on the 2.0 stuff, unless it's original trilogy or I can fit it into here. I'm not that bothered, you know. All the prequel stuff as well, like where's the Dooku? The new Dooku, there they are, they're right there in the corner. And that new clone, you know, that all fits in. Oh yeah, just got a new Canadian of this guy. What is he, the Naboo pilot? Got a new Canadian variant of that. Let me go and get him, hang on. There he is, yeah. So that's the kind of thing I like now. Getting stuff like that's pretty nifty, and they all go side by side. But the problem is, right, and you'll know this if you're a carded collector, when you get something new, you have to shift everything, and that can be an absolute nightmare. That's all I want to say. I don't want to waffle on too long. Give you a quick look in here. Got rid of all my retro collection, actually, except for a couple of pieces, like these very exclusive card backs. That would be beautiful, that in TVC. It's a great card back of Padme, that, and this is a beautiful Django. All my other retros I have got rid of, ladies and gentlemen. They're out of here. But that's it. That's my story. It's 10 years this month that I got the bug, and I began a mission that has turned into this variant fest, ladies and gentlemen. I got a lot of stuff in here. 1.0 though, that's where it's at, folks. Love it. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Join me for more videos very soon. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Out.